Peter, so walk us through exactly what is the president asking for here and how much support will he find?
Well, he's being very coy, actually, about what he's asking for. There was a briefing up on Capitol Hill yesterday for Democrats in the Senate by his chief of staff, Dennis McDonough, as well as his top lawyer. And the White House right now is looking at a proposal to, after talking with both Democrats and Republicans, that would, as you said, allow for the use of military force against the Islamic State. It would be limited to 3 years, we're being told. There would be the limitation as well on no enduring offensive ground operations. There's still some debate among Democrats as to exactly what that means. And there would also be specifically in here a removal of the 2002 Iraq use of military force. And there would be some question here about whether there should be some geographic limits placed on the use of military force here. Some Democrats say absolutely there should be. Others up on Capitol Hill say no. But that's just the rough outline of what the president is looking for right now and what he hopes to get from Congress going forward, even though we are still in the middle of a fight against the Islamic State right now, 6 months in.
Peter, the president's trying to thread a needle here. He wants to approve use of force for special operations forces, but not for any other ground troops. Is this part of a broader strategy that he's engaged in? It seems like the politics of this are it's okay to send in America's superheroes, but not reservists.
Well, the reality, Brendan, is that the president likely wouldn't get approval to do anything but what you just described, allowing for this exception for the use of special operations forces in certain circumstances, for example, to rescue a downed pilot. Members of Congress are pretty confident that that would be a good idea at this point. So the reality is anything beyond that wouldn't win the approval, certainly, of most Democrats up on Capitol Hill and probably a lot of Republicans as well. They're worried about mission creep here. That is the balance act the president has to wage here. He has to be able to get the authorization for military force and be able to anticipate what might be needed in the future.
Well, Peter, speaking of mission creep, you know, this is a president who ran his campaigns on promises to end wars, and here he is still dealing with forces in Afghanistan, although they're leaving, in Iraq, and now talking about asking for new war powers. He's a president who's really assumed a much more active military posture than he wanted to, isn't he?
Absolutely. This is a reluctant president, to be sure, getting into this fight, but a fight that still this White House believes needs to be waged against the Islamic State. And this is going to be the really intense debate up on Capitol Hill. I cannot overstate some of the strong feelings up there right now. This is the first real war debate we're having in Congress in 10 years, and there are some people, reluctantly as well, but eagerly looking to debate this on the floor of the Senate and the House. They have real questions about whether or not this is the right move right now, both Republicans and Democrats. This is going to be, in the words of John Boehner, a heavy lift.
Peter, quickly, does this signal anything about the new Congress? This feels like a bill the way we learned about it in school. You've got Democrats, Republicans, and the White House all coming to a compromise.
Brendan, I think that's a good point. And one thing I've heard from both Republicans and Democrats is that the president's outreach on this effort has been pretty good so far. Both the Republicans and Democrats, they've gone looking for language from those lawmakers. It wasn't exactly the same sort of mode of operation we saw from this president when Democrats controlled the U.S. Senate. To some extent, they've reached out a little bit more because Republicans are in control, and the president's more likely to get support from Republicans than Democrats on this issue.